Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Hello, how are you? How are you? Hello. I'm not sure you'll trust my translation after this, but there you go. So I want to say to you, you think I mean well done? You know, what have you done for me to congratulate you? No, I do congratulate you for watching, and thank you for watching anyway, but I'm trying to attract your attention that today's topic, or today's sign, or today's scientific miracle in the Quran, so to speak, will be about your fingerprint. You actually remember that I mentioned to you during last and the very first episode that we did a couple of weeks ago about the mosquito, that the next 3 episodes, next 3 videos will be about you, and this is one of them. It's about your fingerprint. So Bismillah. In fact, this time around, or for this particular topic of the fingerprint, we shall rehearse or cite 3 ayats. Well, we shall read 3 times, but they're really 4 ayats, 4 verses from the Quran. And the first one is the introductory ayah or verse, so to speak, which sums up the general topic of the signs or the scientific miracles in the Quran. And the first one is, it's actually Surat Fusilat, number 41, which is the 41st surah in the Quran, and there are 114, and verse 53, which goes, سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق. سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق. Which means, translation, we shall show them our signs. In fact, sorry, we mentioned it last time, but it pays off to explain that the second word, سنريهم آياتنا, we shall show them our signs, but it's actually a homonym. What is a homonym? We fall again on this homonym. A homonym is the ancestor of the Homo sapien and the Neanderthal, the common ancestor of the Homo sapien and the Neanderthal. You can check it in a dictionary, but you Google it, but you will not find anything, because I'm just calling your bluff. A homonym is a word which has either 2 meanings or more than 2 meanings. And the homonym here is ayatina. We shall show them our, I said signs, but the term ayah means a sign and also means a verse. So Allah subhanahu azza wa jal states we shall show them our signs or our verses, سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق, in the high heavens, in the heavens above, in the universe, the entire universe, وفي أنفسهم, and within their own selves, within their bodies, حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق, until such time that it is clear to them, whom, them, you, I, everybody, human beings. So until it is clear to them that this is the truth. What is the truth? The signs which Allah mentioned, we shall show them our signs, but as signs is also a homonym, and the homonym is verse, and the Quran is a compilation of verses, just above 6,000 verses in the Quran. So all these verses, the Quran itself, it will become evident to them that the Quran is the truth. Subhanallah. It's a challenge. It's out of His mercy, God actually gives us these signs, but it's also a challenge for us. And so that was Fussilat 4153, which is just the introductory ayah or verse to our subject. Now we shall speak about the fingerprint in the Quran, naturally. The sign of the fingerprint, the miracle of the fingerprint. Now, it is stated in the Quran in Surah Al-Qiyamah. Qiyamah, translation of Qiyamah is the day of resurrection, the day of judgments. That is Surah Al-Qiyamah in verse 75, 3 and 4. No, not verse, I beg your pardon. It's actually Al-Qiyamah is the 75th surah in the Quran, and you need to check verses 3 and 4. And verses 3 and 4 go, أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. So translation, free translation that you don't have to pay for. Does man أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه. Does man think that we are not? Does Allah speaks, our God? He says, does man think that we are, God uses the royal we, that we are not able to gather, najma', to gather, assemble, and najma' idamah, that will gather his bones. Well, to explain why does man think we'll not gather his bones? Because any non-believer or atheist will say to you, when I die, if I'm cremated or if I'm buried and then my bones actually are disintegrated, or if you're cremated and they're thrown in a lake, in a sea or wherever, God will never be able to gather my bones. So what do you believe in? He may think that we, the believers, are retrograde. We actually just believe in old tales or something like that. But no. The proof is here. God gives you, in His mercy, He gives you a proof beyond reasonable doubt that God, Subhanahu Azza wa Jal, Allah, will most definitely gather your bones after you die. And even if you're dead for thousands or centuries or hundreds of thousands of years, God will most certainly gather them. And the answer in the next verse, you will have the proof, which we're talking about the fingerprint. أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه. Does man think that we are not able to gather or assemble his bones, meaning after he's died? بلى, nay, بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. Nay, we are able to fashion his fingerprint. We are able to fashion his fingerprint. Why? This is the proof that God is able to gather your bones. He said to me, does man think that we are not able to gather his bones? Nay, we are even able to fashion his fingerprints. Now, the fingerprints, as we all know, are unique to each person. So you can count how many human beings have been since Adam until, not today, but until the end of the world. If Allah folds this world in half an hour, or in 500 years, or in thousands of years, 500,000 years, can you imagine how many human beings, only human beings, how many human beings there have been? So when you actually think that every single human being has a unique fingerprint, and what's very strange also, probably we don't think about it, how big is your fingerprint? How? Is it more or less 3 centimeters? An inch and a half or something like that? Well, 1 inch is about 2.5 centimeters. Is barely an inch and a half. So if you're huge, 2 inches. Can you imagine within 3 centimeters, there is a design which is different from every single human being, from Adam until the end of the world.